climate change is having an impact on Wisconsin. The Rush Creek project really started out of wanting to bring climate resiliency and adaptation to Wisconsin in a big way. Amy and Justin will talk about the various climate adaptation elements and what that actually translates to in terms of land management. It was selected because of its enormous ecological value.
3,200 acres of everything from the lowland forests, the wetlands, the streams, savannas. 2 miles worth of bluff prairies along the Mississippi. There's less than 0.1% of original prairie left in Wisconsin.
We have much oral history, the whole chunk of our ancestors sitting in what they call a place of refuge. We're part of this area. We breathe its air and we eat its food off the ground, and we're part of that soil that it comes from.
These systems have been managed by humans for thousands of years. We have a responsibility to steward these systems and continue to be a part of these systems. Justin Nooker, ecologist and the property manager for Rush Creek. There's always been this, I call it this looming existential kind of pressure about climate change.
More frequent and more intense rain events, floodwaters washing across the landscape. They can disperse non-native invasive species.
With increasing temperatures, we're seeing a lot of these invasive plants thrive.
And they outcompete native plants. Trees getting stressed because of drought and extreme heat.
Wisconsin will become more like Iowa in temperature and rain and snowfall. We're seeing ranges moving for these species, whether you're a northern species moving north or a southern species moving north.
But if they're in very fragmented habitats, they can't really make that leap. And so they might just not make it at all.
So trying to get our systems as big as we can, as resilient as possible right now, before we really see climate change ramp up.
We used to step back and see what Mother the Earth wants to do with herself, but that way is no more. You have to find the ways to get through this day and age.
Look at our current management approaches. Will it continue to work into the future? Does it need to be adjusted or tweaked? Or do we need to scrap it and do something completely different?
Rush Creek is the first climate adaptation demonstration site that's in a grassland ecosystem in the state.
With a climate-ready planting list, we're collecting seeds from different sites surrounding Rush Creek for a prairie planting. And they all have slightly different traits. Annuals, biennials, perennials. It's taproots, fibrous roots, tall species, short-statured species, species that are drought tolerant, and species that can handle flooding and inundation. We're just trying to build diversity at so many different levels. Rush Creek has diverse topography, diverse native plant communities. It's just good to have this matrix of related communities that can kind of shift in response to different types of climate. Most of our natural communities in Wisconsin adapted over millennia with fire. especially the grasslands. Without regular fire, they can become overgrown, and then you no longer have prairie. Fire is becoming more difficult. We have these really wet springs. It just makes it too wet to burn. It gets too hot too fast, and then it's too volatile to burn. We are starting to burn in seasons that we didn't traditionally do.
This year in 2024, we started in February. That lengthens our season so we can get more burning done in a season. I like looking at, when I'm dead and gone, that these places will hopefully have hundreds of years of fire on the landscape again. These systems are resilient. You almost immediately see a certain response. Within a couple years, we see red-headed woodpeckers using our open oak woodland. Building in connectivity and size and thinking about defragmenting. Planting prairie plantings. Restoring wildlife corridors. That all enhances climate resiliency.
How are we going to change at the speeding up of environmental change? And so I think we're past that age of sitting on our hands.
Part of my job is to help natural area managers grapple with climate change. So that's why we're here today.
What I love about Wisconsin is that Wisconsinites love our land.
For me, managing a place like Rush Creek, it's like a meaning of there's hope for the future. There's people that want to protect these places.
And see just the groundswell of support for this type of work. There's just so much potential for that to transcend beyond Rush Creek to these other places as well.
So I'm here to find out about strategies for managing our properties kind of in the long term.
A lot of the preserves that we manage are to be undergoing the same adaptation workshop model that was used here.
And it's really doable.
When you're at the site and you're walking through it, you realize this is amazing, this is special, this is right, this is the future.